All right. Hi, everybody. We are here. Yes, you can hear me. Just double checking. There's no one here to check me, but I know it's because this phone's not muted. Hi, we're here back for week 2 of the membership, whatever it ends up being called. Here we are. I have just cleaned up my studio and it feels super great in here, and I'm excited to be here. And I wanted to kind of show you how simple of like my space is right now. Like I have my full place clear. I have some water. I have water to drink, and I'm just like really just here for my shoebox. And I've got that right here. Um, and I'm just excited to kind of get into it. And I have an idea. You'll see, I have my phone case sitting here. I just got a new phone, and this is wood. And I've been thinking about how it'd be cool if it had some color to it. So I think I'm gonna try putting some watercolor on it. That's the only thing I have in mind. Other than that, well, not true. Actually, my next project is going to be a bunch of beaches. So I'm going to think beach, but I also think I might do a little bit of sketching. I have some ideas of some things that I don't know, some things in my head that I feel like sketching out. So I'm just gonna kind of get myself set up. Um, yeah, like I said, the only thing I had over here was my water. That was the only thing I got. And so all of my stuff out and put my box away so that I have my space. And I'm gonna start with actually I think I'm gonna start with a piece of paper, of my mixed media paper. And now, you know, you don't have to pull everything out of your pad. It just kind of depends on how you want to work and how you want to collect. If you want to keep stuff in your pad, go for it. Something about like, and I'm just going to kind of warm myself up here. So I'm just going to grab, while I'm talking to you, I'm just going to kind of like doodle bob here. Not even look. I'm just going to just make some shapes while I'm talking. And while you set up. The how to store, what to do with all of our creations, how to do this practice and collect the stuff and do the things and not just let it collect dust is one of my challenges. And that's what I'm here with you guys to kind of figure out amongst us what we're going to do with this stuff. Well, my thought right now is that we're going to keep creating. And what I have already started is little piles. I have some manila folders with my creations or the girls' creations. This is the stuff from the Shoebox Studio. So I have this little space that I'm keeping them. So at least I know where they are, one, and they're kind of, they have a spot. So, I mean, I could even keep that in my shoebox. I just stuck it back in there. So we'll see if that stays there. This is really satisfying for me. It's not coming out into anything, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm just kind of doodle bobbing. Oh, we're gonna make that a word. The pink colored pencil is attached to the charcoal piece, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pull that out too and fill in some stuff. I don't know. Yeah, just some colored pencil on there. What I've been coloring at night just as a actually I've been listening to a book on, not on tape, but through audiobook. And I've been putting that on instead of reading myself because my eyes have been really tired at night, which coloring is not helping, especially in dim light. It'll be fine. I'll figure it out. But I've enjoyed using colored pencils, is my point. Um, it's been really fun to just kind of practice shading and blending and getting really smooth transitions between things. That's not what I'm doing right now. Right now, I'm kind of trying to loosen up my, how would I say that? Just trying to loosen up my space. See if anything starts coming alive. Coming alive. All right, I liked the pencil. I'm gonna do a couple more different colors. Pink, yellow. So I don't know about you guys, but at this point, I feel like you've probably done the Shoebox Studio, or you've at least dabbled in, and we've started creating things together. And I know in my life, because I'm doing this in real time with you, right? I mean, I know we have a little gap right here, but things are happening. There's a lot going on, like in my world and around me and everything. And I've been really, I do a lot of personal growth and just me time and self-care and that kind of stuff anyway. But I've really been focusing on central nervous system healing and this idea that creative process is healing. And so I have really, really noticed a lot of a lot more ease in decision making and handling these big events. I have a lot going on, a lot going on. We have travel, we're moving, it's a lot. And I could easily get really freaked out about it, but I feel like this practice right here, and I'd be curious if you're feeling any of the same thing. If you've been doing it and feeling any difference in your ability to handle anything, or if any great ideas have come up or anything's kind of like manifested themselves since we've been creating together. I'd be so curious to know. So this is, like I said, I didn't have any intentions for this space with you. I'm trying to keep it very, very loose and open. And I love that we get to work from the same set of materials. And so that we can have all the same things. And I think I'm ready to wet my watercolors. Let's see if I might. I think I feel like putting. No, where's my hairspray bottle? I do. I'll give you guys a studio tour someday. My studio is full of all of this stuff at hand, but I really do appreciate the idea of doing this. And what I'm going to do, because I feel like I need to restock on some things, I think I'd like to restock some of these colors and bring in some new colors. So I think for September or for August, we're going to start adding a list of things that we can add and what we might want to restock for ourselves as we move through and grow and keep doing things. All right, I'm going to take a big brush. I'm just going to plop some color around, even though this isn't watercolor paper. It's just multimedia paper or mixed media paper. I really love this blue so much. I'm using a whole bunch of it. interesting how the paper towel has a little bit of a waxy feel to it. I'm sorry, the colored pencil, not the paper towel. And the charcoal seems to like it almost fades, but then it doesn't. Or it smears, but then it doesn't. What next? Mud. Oh, look at there. I just kind of made a beach. I didn't even think about it that way. So I'm just kind of wetting the paper. I like the way that dark showed up. Seeing what happens as it goes over the charcoal. Just exploring. As I said, I have landscapes on the mind, so I'm not surprised that that's what's showing up here. I'll let it just keep being. The paper's really wet, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside. Actually, no, I'm going to actually drag some chalk or some little pastels through here. These really help me loosen up. I like to twist them. I really like that these, I have a lot of different styles of these. These crepa ones, crepa, very French. Definitely an old tried and true trusted brand. Highly pigmented. I'm impressed with the pigmentation of these. They're very, very pigmented. And I like the way that they are wider. The ones that I have are more narrow. Can you see? I really like the way that these are big, chunky. There's lots and lots of different, well, there are lots and lots, but there's more types of colored pencils, that's for sure. There's a variety of oil pastels that you can choose from. And it's just going to be up to you. If you get, I noticed I took a little art class online the other day or yesterday, not a class, but it's just kind of a seminar thing. And we were using pastels, and I noticed that the teacher had and recommended the new pastels, which are different than the soft pastels that we have in our kit. And I love new pastels. And in that case, I would say, yes, if you're into the pastels, get yourself some new pastels because it's a game changer. They're very different. They behave differently than the soft ones. But they're great in combination with. I used to have in my art supply store, I had this beautiful display rack that was all the singles, so every single color of the rainbow, and they came in like packs of 12, so there was always like 10 or 12 just real pretty clean sticks of color. So pretty. Turned it into a landscape, didn't you, rather? Did yours turn into a landscape? Fishies? Lots of little fishies. These all become little fishings. All right, that's wet. Oh, on my side of the side. And while this is, so this is just wood. I'm just gonna, while it's wet, while my watercolors are wet, I'm gonna wet this. Just see what even happens. Keep going on what you were doing. Get a piece of watercolor paper out next. Since I love this color so much. Looks like it might not do anything on there. It might be staining. Kind of cool, huh? Random things you can do. Tell you what. You now have the power to do random things to your stuff. Just be prepared and know that it might not always turn out the way you expect it to. I still don't know how this is turning out, but we're going to find out. Very cool. Let it dry for a minute before I dab that off. Okay. Now, piece of watercolor paper. So next month, I'm thinking we'll take the whole month and we'll use these two projects, last week's project and this week's project, as part of our space, and we'll work through and we'll create something. I'm thinking we create a series of greeting cards, just of that group of things, and we go through and we use all of our stuff. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go with that in mind, what? I wonder about just kind of playing and staying super abstract. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth about like rainbow. I wish that you guys were here with me so that you can tell me. Here's what I'm going to do. All of that, I'm going to use my graphite. I'm going to stick with that exact same exercise, but I'm going to put watercolor down and have it be on watercolor paper. And so while I'm talking to you, I'm just going to start do little bobbin. And I promise I'm actually not even looking at, I'm looking at this side, which is me, not my paper. So look the other way and just doodle around. Okay. And stop. Boop. Okay. I'm going to use my smaller brush. Oh boy, we got all kinds of things going on. I'm gonna spray it with some water. Last week working with those paints like that, it's kind of fun, huh? This is totally not part of the process, but I feel like doing this just to get it to kind of soak in a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and use some of this. Where's my popsicle stick? Just a couple drops there. Sticking with this green theme. It's not really moving around as much as I want it to. Just for the sake of playing, this is my iridescent medium. I'm putting a little blob right there. Don't know what my plan is at this point. A little blob of that, some green all the way around it. So far my design doesn't know anything about what's going on. Neither do I. A little touch of my blue. And paper. I was tempted to use my fingers, but I'm just going to stick to I like the way my fingers are dragging through it. This is fun. Okay. I know we're low. Okay, we're low on white, so we'll use just the. At least I am. Are you guys low on white? I think that's going to be in next month. I'm going to try and do a little in the middle of it, flop. And I don't know why my fingers are calling themselves to this space, but they are. And so I'm going to listen, put my fingers in there. Pretty little wave space there. I don't know if I ever mentioned this before, but great way to wash your hands is if you take your rag and you just dip it in your water, just like a corner of it. You know, like if you're at a restaurant or something, you want to rinse your hands off and then wipe your fingers right there. That way you don't have to run to the restroom. Unless you need to run to the restroom, of course. All right, I know that that's looking like a wave, and I don't know. The yellow is just begging to go in there. Now I got to be careful. Oh, phew, you know what? I just broke this, and I'm really glad that I broke it because now I can save the wrapper on this part of it, and I really did want to put it on its side anyway. to drag it through this and see if I can get, so, you know, we're working with two different or like opposing characters here. Oil pastel, and the gesso is water-based, and all the watercolor here is water-based. So we're bringing in three different, essentially painting components. The same woman who was using the new pastels insisted that pastels are a painting process, and I agreed with what she was saying, and I will now contest that this is also full-on painting, even though we're using some drawing materials, what I consider drawing materials. Just playing. So now that this is doing that, I kind of feel like extending in two different ways. So I could go purple. Just more blue. I really love this blue. I would call it a Prussian blue, I think. It's your dark blue and your, oh my goodness, it's almost gone. I don't want it to be gone. So next month I will provide you access. You'll have access to these two videos. Yes, last week's video and this week's video. Plus, plus a supply list of things that I'm going to do. You'll have a link to things that I'm going to. So by the time you'll see this, go find the link and you can resupply your kit the way I am. Okay. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm just going to keep this membership and the things that we do here in this membership to just our shoebox. Okay. Because we can do a lot here. We can do a whole lot. We'll add to it here and there, but we really can add to it. And you'll have links and stuff to be able to, you can go find the links that show you how to buy if you need a full refill on the shoebox or you want to get a shoebox for somebody else. You just get the kit. All right. It's been fun. What's going on over here? Did a little something. All right, and how dry is this? I think all right, I'm switching back to my first original, my first page, and I'm kind of feeling like painting over the whole thing, or maybe switching it up. I'm doing something like drastically different. Like I'm gonna pull a rainbow. Oh. Right through the middle. My 5-year-old insists that pink is part of the rainbow. You need to put pink in there, go for it. It's official. Be part of the rainbow. I need to wave it much. Um, So this blue, or these pastels, these oil pastels, they're actually covering a lot more than I had maybe thought. I mean, I knew it was going to cover, but I wasn't. And so in order to just kind of continue on with the chaos here, I'm going to continue by adding more paint and just covering up. Oh, those were going to become fish, weren't they? Maybe still. Maybe I could turn them into flowers. Nothing's really coming up with mine. Is anything coming up with yours? I'm really enjoying watching and witnessing how the different mediums are stacking on top of each other. And you got a little glare there, but it's some of the some of the colored pencil is resisting, and some of it's not. And then the oil pastel also resists for the most part. Red is another color that's going to go missing here soon. I was shopping watercolor pans the other day, and I'd be curious to see what you guys think about your experience with these. I really liked this watercolor pad. I hope you have too. I like the size of it. It's all you need. I like that there's a lot of colors. I like the way my oil pastels are resisting here. All right, so I'm now mostly wet here again, so I'm just going to set it aside again. Let's see if there's anything else I can do or play with over here. I am still mostly wet. Let's see here. I've been playing with a lot of the same stuff. I don't know if these will do anything on top of all of that. Actually, it feels nice and rough. Actually, they might. So we're going to go with the laws of threes. It's going to come up a lot, the laws of threes. There's many laws in nature that also apply in art, and there's a lot of famous artists that have used a lot of those things. They show up, and it's because it's pleasing to the eye. It works with the way our brains think and the way our eyes see things, and there's a lot of science behind it. I'm not your sciencey type. I'm more of a feeler. I feel the way things land inside of me and kind of how they resonate with other things that I know to be true or that are true in my world at this point. But I'm constantly amazed at like where these things show up. They're kind of like common law nature laws, like the laws of threes. So you can use it all the time. 1, 2, 3, like you can kind of see it. Even this one now has got 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. It's like tic-tac-toeing already almost. And then also the way I like to apply is laws of threes in 3 layers on anything that makes it kind of a finished product. If you're sketching something, like you're doing something like my masterpieces behind me. I perhaps started with a pencil sketch and then I kind of shade in things and then I come in with some more detail. And usually there's more than 3. So that's great. The more 3, the better, more the better, because you're creating depth and you're creating interest and you're creating things that keep the viewer's eye looking at what you've created. And it creates meaning behind what you've created. And it takes patience and conscientiousness and like thought. And so that's kind of parts of the brain that we're practicing. Sometimes things will take a lot longer to get anywhere. And like I said before, like culmination, finishing out these projects together, that is part of my journey with you as well, is what to do with all of this stuff. And I believe that we can create some things that are going to be wonderfully fulfilling as far as gifts and ways to communicate with people, whether that be just like little notepad tags around your house, or yeah, we can do all kinds of things with them, with these simple ingredients, and kind of choose what we're going to do. We'll get to that. It's July. We're going to start here in August. We're going to be fine. But just the idea of like creating something that's actually becoming something, not because we have to be productive, but because the things that we create can become something. And that's like a beautiful circle thing. So that's why we're just going to kind of keep getting together and doodling and putting things together. And I promise you, within the next 3 or 4 weeks, we will see some things come together and some culmination happen. And that's a hefty promise from me, because I'm actually going to be in a lot of chaos and movement around me. But we're going to stick to this box and we're going to stick to this space. And it's worth getting out and being able to put back away. So even when you're, traveling or not in your own private space, you're at your kitchen table, wherever you may be, a spot on the floor, spread on a blanket outside on the driveway. Like, you have all the stuff all in one spot. So I'm going to keep hitting that home, and we're going to build this kit to stay contained within that space. I am just going to keep on with this. I have to remember that with these loose lines, we'll be finishing that sentence. I have to remember that chalk pastel is going to be, it's never going to like dry, if you will. It's going to be mess with the bowl. If I brush up against this, if I drag something else over, it's going to be affected. So that's something to just keep in mind as far as which layer this is. And then it's going to be interesting to see. I just feel a different tug when it goes over that chalk pastel or the oil pastel. So again, 1, 2, 3. If I go beyond 3, I usually do an odd number. If I feel like counting, even I don't know if I even counted this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's kind of a 7th one in there. I'm not really too worried about it right now at this point, but just kind of seeing it where you do see it. It's interesting. It's wet over there. Ooh, I like what that does when it's wet. You see this over here? It won't stay that way, I bet. It's a little bit wet. Let's find out. I don't know that it'll stay that way. Sidewalk chalk, when it gets wet, it's darker in color, but still just dries. It really is just like paint. It's just dried up paint. So I don't know about you, but my mind is just racing with ideas. I've got all kinds of ideas about how to continue connecting with you, um, about what to create with these things, about what I'd like to create in my life. Um, I really enjoy this practice. I enjoy sharing it with you, and I enjoy being here and giving myself this time to dedicate to this. And I really think it's going somewhere. Um, I am lucky in that what I do as far as a job goes is I I'm in my studio. I get to be creative every day. And that is a beautiful, amazing thing. And it doesn't always look like this. It's a lot of other things as well, but it's setting up this space for me personally, and I can only hope the same for you, is it's really making a difference in my life. So thank you for being along on this journey. And it's amazing how even just 1 week, I'm sorry, once a week of setting aside this time and just being here once a week is really, I wouldn't say it's really enough, but it's a lot, and it's something, and it's making an impact, and it's I know in my life, and I hope it is in yours as well. Um, I'm excited to see where this is going. I'm going to let these two dry, and I'm going to wrap it up and clean up a little bit, set up a little time for myself to put things away. Um, Picking up after ourselves and putting all of this stuff. I keep talking about how cool it is that it all fits in one container. And that's always true as long as we continue to keep putting it away in one container. So this is acrylic paint that's on there. And what I'm going to do is actually, it's going to be better off if I dry it on there, if I let it dry completely. So next time I'll be able to peel that off a lot easier than if I try and peel it off right now. So just going to put my stuff away. I don't always go rainbow, but sometimes it just feels really good to stick to it. These are some nice supplies. This is a great little set of stuff that you can really create a lot of fun stuff with. I hope you're really enjoying it, and I know that I am thoroughly enjoying playing with these materials. My eraser is really sticky. Is yours? They're not always this sticky. And even though, I did use a couple of my brushes, so I'm gonna wait to roll up my brushes. These need to go cleaned. I'll remind you once again, I don't have my soap with me, but before I wet my hand, I'm gonna squirt some soap in my hand, and the brush is just still wet from being in the, can you see these two little hairs sticking out right there? Let's see if they lie flat. If they don't lie flat, you might consider, you can do two things. You can pluck them, or your X-Acto knife, scissors. I don't know where my X-Acto knife or scissors are. Do it way up high because you don't want to affect your point. Okay, that one just kind of got tucked in there. So I'd rinse them off really good. I'd take my cup to the sink, dump that water, squirt some soap in my hand while my hand is still wet or not wet yet, and just take the wet brushes and lather them up like that. And then I'm going to rinse them in the running water. And then I tend to refill my cup and bring it back to my space for the next time so that I already have water waiting for me. But if you're using a space that's not always like that, then clean up after yourself. So I'm going to wait and clean those up really well before I wrap those things up and get everything back into my shoebox. You know, I'm just going to say it again because it's worth repeating, that the more that we exercise our creative minds and the more that we make space for creativity in our life, and we allow ourselves to play with these supplies, with the beauty that's around us, with each other, with the ones we love, we're going places. We really, really are. And it's amazing and an honor to be able to do it with you. And I just really know it's literally a hunch at this point, but it's a knowing that the more that we exercise this part of ourselves that we've been led to believe is not important, the better ideas we're going to have, the more things we're going to create. We get to create our amazing life. We get to. And the thing is that we've forgotten how to, because we've forgotten how to create. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this journey as we learn how to be creative. I'm going to go wash my brushes and I'll see you again next week. Bye.